BMW were the source of attention as F1 arrived in Italy for the Italian Grand Prix. BMW have said that investigations are underway with both of their two drivers, Mason Wood and Stoff Van Dorn. The team wants answers to the issues that have occurred between the two drivers and are not afraid to terminate contracts where they feel necessary in terms of their investigation. Both Mason Wood and Stoff Van Dorn are still not speaking to each other after their incident, which happened a couple of weeks ago. To refresh your minds on the actual incident itself, effectively Mason Wood, according to Stoff Van Dorn's story, we haven't really heard much from Mason Wood on this, effectively was stating that Mason Wood was acting as if he was above the team itself. He felt like that he had more authority than what he had, and at the end of the day, both Mason Wood and Stoff Van Dorn are just the drivers in all this. But Mason Wood feeling like because he's got a little bit more within the team itself, feels like he's above where he actually is. Van Dorn didn't like this, and with Mason Woods coming out and saying that multiple different drivers wanted to join the team, such as Sam wanting to leave the McLaren family and come to BMW, which was a proper family, kind of rattled Van Dorn the wrong way, because it almost gave the impression like Mason Wood was the one picking the drivers, and ultimately was frustrated that Van Dorn had to come into the team, because of course Van Dorn was not, in case, his quote number one pick. So that's obviously really rattled Van Dorn, and it came out into a bust-up in the BMW team factory. Now, of course, despite them saying that everything was okay, things are still not right, and the toxic nature between the two drivers is really hurting the team and their morale, and now BMW are taking steps to try and eradicate the toxicity. With all the controversies continuing to happen off-track, what's been going on track? Well, Ferrari are fastest at their home Grand Prix here in Monza, and they'll be hoping that they can get their first win of the season in front of their home crowd. But the team at the moment that looks most likely to stop that from happening are Red Bull. They are right behind them in both the qualifying and the race simulations. But Valtteri Bottas does admit that it's going to be a very difficult fight with the Scuderia, who are always traditionally well known to be quick in front of their home crowd. McLaren and Mercedes, though, seem to find themselves off the pace heading into this weekend. McLaren are less confident than Mercedes. McLaren say that they're currently struggling to find the balance between minimum downforce whilst keeping some speed in the middle sector, while Mercedes say that they've got a few things to iron out, but they think that they can try and recover some of the pace that they have lost throughout the start of the weekend. But let's see who can get the fastest lap time in qualifying and who can crucially win the race. It is time for the Italian Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today it is round number 13 of season 11 of my favourite YouTube series of all time. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And let's get cracking with the Italian Grand Prix, the Temple of Speed. And let's see if we've got the pace to get a good qualifying session in the bag here. As you can see though, we're going for our first qualifying run, which is normally just our banker lap here. And as you can see, getting down towards the parabolic canal, probably the weakest corner on the track for me. Just not able to get the rotation, the turn-in, the braking, pretty much any of it right, really, which obviously does give us a disadvantage as we go down the straight now here to cross the start-finish line, and it's a shocker of a banker lap there, 6 cents per second behind Piastri, who's going to be much further up the grid than where we are. So we need to find quite a bit of improvement if we're going to get anywhere on the grid then. So let's see what we can do now as we go on to our final fly lap here, down the straight here, already gaining a little bit of time, literally on the maximum of the rev limiter here, to the point where the game can't even function it properly. And as you can see then, going in towards the first two corners into the chicane here, we get ourselves through nice and comfortably, losing a little bit of time though compared to my first lap actually, about a tenth of a second down from what we did earlier. So we actually got a better run through them. We probably went a little bit late on the brakes into the second part of the chicane here, but we still had a decent first sector in the bag here. Braking a little bit later into the second chicane does us nicely. 10.5 gains, or call it a 10th actually, because we're losing a little bit of time there. Into the first Lesmo, a little bit wide in the entry there. Probably going to brake a tiny bit earlier just to get the rotation. And same with the second Lesmo, just unsettling the car slightly, but still, despite that though, we're about 0.4 of a second up on our previous best lap. So as things stand, while it's in a little bit of a shaky lap, it's actually not turning out to be that bad at all as we fly through the Ascari chicane now here. 6 cents up on our previous best, but we just clipped the curb there on the final phase of the Ascari chicane. And that just puts us off slightly as we make our way now down towards the last corner here. And as you can see, braking at the 50-meter board. This time though, we actually brake a little bit too late, get the back end stepping out on us as we go wide on the exit there. And we've thrown away all of the time that we had on the table, and we're going to have to start from the back. Alright, so we're on the grid here for the start of the Italian Grand Prix, and unfortunately, very far down them from where we normally are. We're down literally on the back row of the grid. It's 19th place out of 20, so we've got work to do if we want to get some points here today, and it is lights out, and away we go. It's a decent getaway from us. It's a horrible start from the drivers in front of us. They're literally making us swerve all the way over to the other side of the track there. That was a horrible start for poor Chair, one of the Jaguars, but we're just going to carefully now just send it up the inside here of a whole bunch of cars now, and as we go right around the outside there of the Audi and Charles Leclerc, we now make our way up into 12th place here. We might make it P11 here, because now all of a sudden we find ourselves alongside Sam here, who's not had a good start in the McLaren, as we go side by side now down towards the second chicane here, coming in this move here, gently braking towards the inside line here, getting it nice and easy on the braking. Round the outside we go. We're past the McLaren of Sam, and we're now up into 11th place here, and automatically that's 8 cars done and dusted in the first couple of corners. So 19th up to 11th in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, out front, the two Ferraris seem to be getting away nicely, and they're in the lead in this race. But for us, though, through the second Lesmo there, just a little bit wide on the exit of Lesmo 2. Now, that's going to give Sam an opportunity to see if he can try and make a run for it down in towards the Ascari chicane, but he's not close enough to go for a run yet on this occasion, so we can make our way through the chicane and get on with it. But crucially, you can see there's a little bit of a gap in front of us now between myself and the Renault car of Daniel Ricciardo, so we need to make sure that we can try and get onto the back of this, because if we lose the trail of this train of cars, then the DRS is going to cause us a whole lot of issues, because we will not be chasing this lot, we'll be defending P11, and we can't afford that. Lando Norris, it's not Carlos Sainz, is leading this Grand Prix for Ferrari, so Verstappen is second, but here comes Sam now with a run here with the straight line speed now of the McLaren coming into play here, but now we're going to use a little bit of our battery just to give us a defensive maneuver here, and crucially now, we're right on track with the rest of the cars, because they've all gaggled up into the first chicane here. Looking at the start of the race though here, you can see the 5 lights going out, and Lando Norris gets a lovely start from pole position there, and there's us completely swerving, rather dangerously actually, over to the other side of the track there. But as we make our way now down towards turn 1 here, a lot of the drivers just funneled in towards the first corner. I opted to funnel down the inside here, and crucially actually, I was able to get the braking spot on to the point where I was effectively trail braking into the first corner, and that just allowed me to get the run cleanly through multiple cars without causing any form of issues. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid here, this was George Russell, who started from 3rd on the grid. Great qualifying, considering McLaren have really been struggling this weekend. And as you can see here, he's under pressure because Reese has had a fantastic start on the soft compound tyres. He does a great job here, outbrakes Verstappen into turns 1. But on the exit of the second chicane here, you can see Verstappen gets the run through, and he's all okay. This is on board with Valtteri Bottas in the Red Bull here, starting from P5 on the grid. It's a decent start for Bottas here, and you can see Reese got an incredible run towards the first corner, but crucially for Reese, he just had nowhere to go. There was no options really for him to make a move, so Bottas here is trying to fancy his run on Reese here, but Reese then gets the better exit out of turn 2, just like Verstappen did on Russell, and through goes Reese to carry on his pursuit here. Meanwhile, lap 2 of the Grand Prix here, we're hovering all over the back here of Oscar Piastri in the Aston Martin, trying to find a way through in towards the chicane, but you can see here that Piastri breezes past Hamilton quite easily around the outside of Ascari, and that leaves us on the back foot here, trying to attack Hamilton. But watching back here for the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo, I completely forgot to showcase the attack on Daniel Ricciardo, mostly because the footage was fully corrupted at that point, so I couldn't really show anything, to be honest. But as we go now onto the back straight here to end lap 2 to start lap 3, who do you want to fancy having a look at for a scrap for a position? Because guess what? There's about 5 of them. We've got a 3-wide moment up front with the 2 Porsches and the McLaren of Russell. We've got me attacking Hamilton, me attacking Piastri. We've got Ricciardo in behind. We've got a 3-wide moment into the chicane. There's a 2-wide moment between Sam and also one of the Audis in the back of all that. Take your pick, because I don't know who to commentate right now and who's going where, because everyone's going for everyone in this Grand Prix. We love some action here at Monza, and we always get that as we make our way down in towards the second chicane here. I think that's George Russell just about staying in front of one of the Porsche cars. Oh, that was close. There might have been a little bit of contact actually there to myself and Reese, but fortunately we're all right. We're good. So we can carry on with our Grand Prix here. Russell meanwhile stays in P4, but at the front the 2 Ferraris and Bottas are getting away as we're fighting really hard now in this Grand Prix, but DRS is enabled, so that should make overtaking a little bit easier in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Reese there going for a move on Perez. Russell is under massive pressure here from Carlos Sainz as they go in towards the Ascari chicane. Sainz goes for it, but he doesn't make it stick. Russell, great defending through there. Reese, the meanwhile, though, does get past Sergio Perez in all of that. Piastri's putting me under some horrible amounts of pressure here, to the point where I'm not quite fancying it now. As you can see here, like I said, who do you want to look at and commentate on who's fighting? Take your pick. Reese going down, Russell going down the inside of Sainz in towards the last corner there, and he makes that move stick now as we blast down the straight here. And as you can see, we've got more fighting to come here. Who's got the DRS on the straight here? Sainz is the man that doesn't get it. He's going to get swarmed down this straight here. We've got a defended against Piastri. Now we've got past Sainz and all this. Russell's fighting against Perez. Reese has got past Russell. Russell's defended against Perez. Perez gets the outside line for the exit of turn 2. That's going to give him a run down this Curva Grande section towards the next chicane here, and we're going to go on board with that fight now. As you can see here, Russell versus Perez. Perez got better straight line speed in the Red Bull. That's been a tradition in this season. Down towards the chicane here, Perez gets in front of Russell. We're tucking it behind George Russell in this race, and that is us into 7th place in this Grand Prix so far after starting 19th on lap 4. I'll take that. Now, as you can see here on the end of lap 4, we got some pressure here from Oscar Piastri. He's putting us under some real pressure, actually, trying to go for a move there in towards the Parabolica, but we won't let that happen because we've got George Russell to contend with, who's just in front of us. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez is going for a move on Reese, just up ahead. I think he's actually going to make that move stick because he's that much quicker in a straight line. It's the Red Bull, as we meanwhile get a nice run here on George Russell. We're going to get that move done. Carlos Sainz is also going to get that move done. So does the Audi of Nick De Vries or Charles Leclerc. So too does Hamilton. No, Piastri is the one in all there. I told you, everyone's going for everyone right now in this race. As you can see, we're just getting a report there on the vehicle condition. We've had a couple of moments where we tapped the back of a couple of cars, so just making sure that we've got no damage on our car. Lap 5 of the Grand Prix, the back end stepping out there on the exit of the first Lesmo there. A little bit dramatic, and it's still it steps out there on the exit of the second Lesmo now. The back end is really not under control of us in this Grand Prix right now. The minimum drag is really costing us in the middle sector, as Carlos Sainz says, thank you very much, I'll have a piece of that, and gets through, and still the back end is snaking all over the shop down the exit of Ascari. The back end is not compliant with us on the racetrack right now. No rear grip whatsoever. And Piastri now fancies a run at us going down in towards the last corner. Meanwhile, Russell and Sam are having a battle behind George Russell. And there's contact there between myself and Piastri. We've lost the rear end again going through the last corner now. We cannot keep it under control. And we're going to get swarmed here down towards the first corner because Piastri's got DRS. So too does the Audi of Nick De Vries, and we're going to get swamped in all of this. Down towards the first corner we go, and as you can see, we've lost 2 places in all of that. In fact, 3 places really, if you count the loss of the overtake on the from the Porsche driver ahead of Reese, I think it was. So all of a sudden now, we're under some pressure here, but now we get a good exit out of the first 2 corners, and here comes Piastri trying to make a move here on the Audi, but he's not made that one stick. He's opened the door for us to have a run down and towards the second chicane here, braking nice and early, but let the car trail brake into the corner, and then we get that move done. Back end, look at that, the back end is really not complying with us on the race circuit right now. We're not working well on these soft compound tyres on high fuel, but we've got to make do with what we've done here, and now we're up into 8th place. A little bit of a gap now to work on to get back onto the Audi's tail, and that's exactly what we've done here on lap 6 now, getting onto the back of them and making sure that we don't lose track of this battle here. So we now make our way down the start finish straight once again here, opening up the DRS now for a run here. Piastri though is coming at us with the DRS. He's got the faster car in a straight line with the slipstream. We're just using the slipstream of Nick De Vries in front to try and make a move stick. Piastri though goes for it down the inside. We'll just cover that one off nice and cleanly. Hamilton now trying to have a run at Piastri, but he's not quite close enough to get that one done, so he's going to have to wait a little bit longer for his opportunity to get past the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, for us in our pursuit of the Audi, we're still trying to make that one stick. Meanwhile, behind us, Piastri and Hamilton are side by side right now into the Parabolica, and one of them's come out on top. It's going to be Piastri that's come out on top here, but the DRS is open and Piastri has a fantastic run onto the back of us here. We're going to use the slipstream, go past the Audi and De Vries. Now it's a straight fight between myself and Piastri. We've got the inside line here, so we can control the braking zone here, force Piastri wide, and that's what we do. Lewis Hamilton is also trying to find a move past the Audi driver, but I don't think he's done that one just yet. But that is a good almost for us, as we're now up into 7th place, but a little bit behind the rest of the field. Speaking of the rest of the field, here's what's going on at the front. We've got Lando Norris, who was leading this this race, who's now going to get overtaken by Max Verstappen. Verstappen now leads the Italian Grand Prix. It's still a Ferrari 1-2 in this Grand Prix, and at the moment, if they're going to overtake like that, it's not going to do them too bad because they'll be able to get away with what they're doing. As you would have seen there, though, on lap 8 start, lap 9, the back end of mine, guess what it did? It stepped out in the exit of the last corner. Piastri says, cheers, mate, and he's off onto a lovely position gained for him. Meanwhile, though, you can see just up ahead there's a fight going on between the Red Bull and both the Porsche drivers. So we're now going to see if we can try and get involved in this fight. Here they are, actually. Sergio Perez and Reese are getting involved on the act here. Sainz is pulling away in this Grand Prix now. And as you can see, it's getting quite interesting between these two because in towards the Parabolica, they're going to go for it now. Reese goes around the outside. Perez breaks later than what Reese does, but they've held each other up in towards the Parabolica. Now they're going to have the DRS here to sort this one out. But will Perez get it on the entry of this straight? He does get it. He's got the DRS. It's Reese that doesn't have it. That's a shame for him because now going down the straight here, Oscar Piastri is going to take over the position that Reese was in. Now he's going to go for a run on Perez here. Perez, though, has the outside line for the exit of turn 2. That's going to give him all he needs. Meanwhile, for us, though, did you see what happened there? I don't know if it's happened before. The back end of my car stepped out, but crucially, we've still got the traction that we wanted against Reese now. So we go down the straight here to past the Curva Grande, down towards the chicane. This is going to be a key move for us, and we get it done down the inside of Reese. Job done on that overtake there, and we're up into 7th place now in this Grand Prix, and we've managed to catch back up to the fight between, well, all these cars really, apart from Sainz, who's pulling away a little bit. Not the Ferraris and Bottas, they're gone in this Grand Prix. As things stand, we've got no chance of catching them in this Grand Prix. But we need to focus on what's going on ahead here because Piastri is going for a run on Perez in towards Ascari. This will be a good move if we can get it done. Not quite though. Perez, well done. Late on the brakes there. Oh, that's so close to contact with the back of Perez. Perez and Piastri really holding each other up in this Grand Prix. That gave me a chance though to pass Piastri with lightning reactions to not run into the back of Perez in all of that. And now all of a sudden here, we've got more cars in the mix here because we've got Perez, myself, Piastri, Hamilton. Who else is in there? Reese and also the Audi of De Vries. So let's all have some fun, shall we? Down the straight we go for another attack here, but Perez hasn't got the DRS, so unfortunately for him, he's going to be a sitting duck down this straight. We get the DRS open and we breeze past him. Will he be passed by anybody else? No, because he actually crucially goes to the middle of the track to defend that. So fair play to Perez, keeping out for anybody else that fancy to run at him, and he's not going to let that happen. Lap 11 of the Italian Grand Prix. We're going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap to get off these soft compound tyres and go on to a set of the mediums to end this Grand Prix. These soft tyres really have not been that good. They were decent for the start of the Grand Prix. I mean, we gained 8 places after the first, 4 corners. So we take that, but unfortunately, you would have seen it throughout the course of the stint. The rear end was really not compliant. The rears were going off quite quickly, so we're going to stop and get these mediums on. And hopefully, these can take us towards the end of the Grand Prix, and we can have a nice clean stint. Reese, meanwhile, does the same thing as me, comes in and takes on a fresh set of boots. The undercut's not super powerful around here compared to other tracks, so hopefully we can see if we can just at least maintain position, maybe gain 1 or 2 places. But crucially, what we're just trying to do is solidify where we are in this Grand Prix on lap 12 and just see if we can try and make some progress here. Speaking of making progress, that's something that Reese wants to do. He's got the battery turned right up with the DRS. I'm not even going to fight that into Ascari. There's a sensible time to fight it. With the amount of battling that's going on in this Grand Prix, there's no point in wasting our time now, as we go a little bit wide on the exit there. There's no point in wasting the time now. You can see coming out of the pits there, Sergio Perez is behind us, which he was anyway, but Carlos Sainz has actually rejoined just in front of us, so the undercut has kind of worked-ish. In terms of it actually closed us right up in this Grand Prix to the drivers in front here. But Reese has not got a great exit out of the exit of turn 2. We're going to use that advantage through the Curva Grande, which we've done multiple times in this Grand Prix, to have ourselves the inside line down in towards this tricky turn 3-4 chicane, or 4-5 chicane actually. And that's the job done on Reese there. Up into 14th place. Obviously plenty of drivers still to pit. But crucially now, Sainz in front is going to be dumping his battery try and pull away from us because he's just come out of the pits, and he's doing a good job of that. And Reese, despite being overtaken by us earlier in the lap, says, excuse me, I'll have that, thank you. So he takes that one back. Bottas, meanwhile, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far in this race. And as I try and settle in behind Reese, I get everything wrong and a half, 0.3 to the power of 7. And that's me basically back down behind Reese, who's now going for a run here. Lap 40 or lap 50 now this Grand Prix. Reese has the DRS on his teammate Sainz now down the straight here, heading in towards the first corner. And as you can see, can he go for a move here? He'll try it down the inside in towards the chicane. Reese now goes for it here. He'll have the outside line for the second phase of the chicane. This is where the drivers favour it compared to the inside line. I kind of favour the inside line option. That's giving me a great run on the exit of turn 1 through the Curva Grande. We've got Sainz covered, but Sainz now's got the outside line. Reese has boxed me in here, so now I'm struggling to find a way through, but we get past Sainz on the run through Curva Grande. Now in towards the chicane, we get the outside line, get past Reese. Both Porsches dispatched with in this Grand Prix, and that's a lovely set of overtaking done for us, and we're 4th now in the Italian Grand Prix. But unfortunately, after this corner right now, there's the DRS zone, and if you've noticed how close the other drivers are behind me, you can kind of tell where this is going to go. Yeah, let's just see what happens. There goes 1 car, there goes 2. Are we going to get a 3rd? No, it's just going to be the zoom, but still, not very impressive, and we don't get a good run through Ascari for good measure here, so that's going to give Perez a really good opportunity to have a go at us down and towards the Parabolica. He's going to go to the outside line here. We're going to defend the middle of the track, use the battery. We've got plenty of it to deploy, and now down in towards the last corner here. This is where we're going to get a great run. No, Perez actually gets a way better run than I do and mugs me off into the last corner, and that's quite embarrassing. But we've got a great DRS scrap though coming up here, because Sergio Perez here is going to have a double DRS attack here. They both pass Reese. Perez now is going to go for on sights. Both get DRS in towards the first corner. I love this camera angle, by the way. Perez, though, goes around the outside of Carlos Sainz. Double overtake for the Red Bull driver. He gets past both the Porsches, just like I did on the previous lap. But hopefully for Perez's sake, he can get away from these two drivers, because at the moment, I can't. But we get a great run. Guess what? At the exit of the first corner, we try to go for it here, but now Sainz gets the run in towards the chicane, but we're going to swoop, I can't get my words out, swoop, that's the word I'm looking for, round the outside into the chicane, and we get the job done on Carlos Sainz and move up into 6th place in this race. Perez, meanwhile, seems to be bolting away in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, if you look at the minimap, actually, Bottas has taken the lead in the Italian Grand Prix. I think he did the undercut on the 2 Ferraris. That's worked for him nicely, and the 2 Ferraris are not helping each other by fighting, so they're really not closing in on Bottas. They're too busy scrapping away with each other. Meanwhile, me and my cousin Reese can't stop scrapping with each other right now, because that's another move done on him. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to be the last time we're going to have to fight with Reese, because that battle is going to continue onwards for quite some time, literally on the same lap, because welcome to the Lesmo exit, which I don't get right, and Reese has got DRS, and he's going to, well, come at us really. So as we go down the straight here he comes, DRS enabled, getting the straight line speed, getting in the turbulent air that we've got, braking in towards Ascari. We're going to defend it around the outside though, quite nicely actually, through there, and Reese doesn't get the move done on that occasion. So now all of a sudden, he's going to have to rethink his strategy now as we breeze down the straight here towards the Parabolica corner. He's going to be staying in our slipstream here as we now go down in towards the corner itself. Now onto the exit, we get a bad run through the last corner. Reese gets a great run actually through that last corner. In fact, it's got so close that he can basically get this move done without even using DRS, and that's exactly what he's done. Doesn't even need it down the straight to get that one done on me there, so that's a little bit embarrassing. Further back though, there's quite a bit of scrapping going on. Hamilton makes his way up a couple of places. Piastri now is finding his way past the Audi driver. Fancies a run here on Carlos Sainz. I know I keep saying the Audi driver. I keep getting confused between De Vries and Leclerc. Sometimes there's just a couple of drivers on the grid that I've made their T-cams very hard to judge. One of them is the Audi team. So sorry about that. But one lap later, this time, we're going to get the move done before the DRS for our own against Reese. But we do use the DRS now to breeze past the Porsche driver, get that job done. He's going to tuck into our slipstream, have a look in towards the first chicane, but it doesn't work for him on that occasion. He's got the job done. We've got the job done, sorry. And Reese will have to settle in behind us for a little bit longer in this Grand Prix, probably half a lap by the way that this race has been going. Oh look, half a lap later on the exit of the Lesmo corner, down with the DRS here. Guess what's happening? Reese is coming back for more. So the DRS is opened here down the straight. He's getting a much closer run than he did on the previous lap. So let's see if he gets this done before the Ascari chicane. He does actually, gets it way before the Ascari chicane there, and he's comfortably through on ourselves here. But now we get a decent run through the chicane. It's not amazing, but we're still in the slipstream of the Porsche driver. If we can just get a good run here through the last corner, we'll be alright to have an attack on him down in towards turn 1. But that is if we get a good run through the last corner. It's not brilliant from ourselves through there. Like I said, I'm struggling versus everybody else on the grid through that last corner, but it's a decent run now, and the DRS is enabled for us here to have a go at Reese down towards turn 1 here on lap 20. Let's see if we can get it done. Reese covers the inside line this time around in towards the chicane, but we're going to use that to our advantage, break nice and late and swoop through. But that does mean that the fighting that me and Reese have done has just brought Piastri, Hamilton, Sainz, and I think it's De Vries right on our tails. So, whoopsie. to that. Lap 20 of this Grand Prix, and we outbreak ourselves horribly in towards the Ascari chicane and just get it horrifically wrong to the point where everybody now says they want to have a run of it. Hamilton actually passes Reese thanks to my mess up, and now he's passed me, Reese has passed me, and Piastri passes me. So we've just lost 3 places in the span of all that. Well done me. But we're going to keep ourselves in the fight here because we've got Piastri right in our sights here. We're closer to Piastri than Piastri is to Hamilton in front. So let's see if we can get a run here down the straight. But you can see how quick the Aston Martin is in a straight line here. So we're going to have to do what we've done all race long and get it done on the brakes here. Down the inside in towards the first chicane. Job done on Oscar Piastri in this Grand Prix. That is us up into 7th place now in this race. Hamilton in front, Reese next in the road. Perez looks like he's just away. The 2 Ferraris, Bottas still long gone in this race. Lap 22 of the Grand Prix. Hamilton is getting overtaken here by Reese in the Porsche. We're going to have a look on Lewis Hamilton ourselves, but Hamilton just cuts off the inside line there and does not want us to make that move in towards the chicane, and I've actually bumped him by accident in towards there. That was me basically saying, why are you covering me off in all of that? Because, you know, I'm in the championship fight. He's not. Whoa, that was a savage quote. Right, now onto the exit of Ascari. Don't tell Toto Wolff I said that. Now onto the exit of the Ascari chicane. I get it horribly wrong. Piastri gets it brilliantly right. And that's him in front of us now. And this last corner never does us any favours. On that occasion, though, wasn't as bad as what it used to be. But we can see if we can get a run now down the straight here and see if we can get any places done. Hamilton's going for a move here on Reese 1 lap later. Gets that one done. Reese has passed Reese, actually, down the straight here in towards the first corner. And now, as you can see, going in towards turn 1, that is the job done on Reese. We tried to have a look on Piastri, but we outbroke ourselves and didn't get that one done. So, a little bit of a shame then. Lap 23 now of this Grand Prix on the exit of the Ascari chicane here. Here comes Reese now for another attack now on Lewis Hamilton down the straight towards the Parabolica. Will he go for it before the DRS detection zone? He fancies it, you know, towards the DRS detection zone. I think Reese is just in front of Hamilton there, going into the detection zone. Hamilton holds off Reese, though, in that fight. So let's see who gets in front in all of this now here as they make their way down the straight. Who's got the DRS and who doesn't? Hamilton's got DRS. Piastri's got it. I thought so. Reese doesn't get DRS, so he's basically shot himself in the foot with that move. Meanwhile, we're not even in DRS. We've actually dropped quite far back from this crew, but crucially, they're fighting into the chicane. Has just allowed me to close right back up. There we are. So, yeah, ooh, back end stepped out me again. There we are. I knew it was going to come out again at some point. Meanwhile, though, Hamilton and Piastri going side by side into the Curva Grande now, down towards this next chicane here. Who's going to come out on top between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes? Breaking later does Oscar Piastri. He gets that one done. Meanwhile, though, we broke later the race to get that move done. Now we're fighting against Lewis Hamilton here. Now we're going to go for a bold and audacious dive on Piastri, and we've gone and done it. What a triple overtake that was. Completely out of the blue there. Sneakily passing Reese, sneakily passing Hamilton, and sneakily passing Piastri. But guess what I did? I went through the Lesmo corners too wide, got my wheels onto the gravel, and I've lost all those places again. So whilst I did all the work to get past everybody, I just got overtaken once again quite easily, thanks to my own stupidity and all that. So well done to me, and the back end steps out again on the exit of the Ascari chicane there. Now, as you can see on the run down towards Parabolica, it's a 3-wide moment here. Hamilton's going for it on Piastri. Piastri's going for it on Reese. Who's going to come out on top? Well, as we go through the Parabolica, I'm not quite sure, but Hamilton's very close to us now. We're actually nearly side by side with Hamilton going down the straight here. Piastri and Reese are next to each other. Which one's missed out on DRS here? It's Piastri that's missed out on it. So he's going to be the sitting duck down the straight. Hamilton and myself will go for it down towards turn 1. And that's Verstappen just on the side of the track there. Lap 25 of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, who was running in second place in the Italian Grand Prix, has pulled over to the side of the circuit. No wonder no one went for an overtake there from myself, Hamilton, or Piastri, because he's pulled over. So all of a sudden, the Ferraris that were sitting pretty on a double podium, one of them is not getting a point in this Grand Prix. We've just got down the inside of Hamilton into the second chicane, but the Tifosi will be furious with that. And there's also a BMW that's just pulled over towards the exit of the Parabolica. So a double DNF there for a BMW and a Ferrari driver. Lap 26 of this Grand Prix, though. Hamilton and myself are fighting now down towards turn 1. Reese and Piastri are going for it in towards the first chicane. Piastri's got it done. Reese is now going to be not second in this Grand Prix, 5th in this Grand Prix. We're now into 6th place here. Reese is going to go for it here, though, on Oscar Piastri. going towards the Ascari chicane. Will we have a go? Not quite. I just couldn't get it done in time. Reese cuts me off nicely there, but we've got a great run now on the Porsche driver. Hamilton's trying to have a run at me now, down towards the Ascari, the Parabolica final corner. Can we go for it down the inside? We'll try it down the inside, but we just don't get the braking right, and the entry and the turn in, not enough. Now we've got the straight here though, with DRS here to have a look at Reese now. Here we go. This is one more lap to try and gain a possible fourth in the Italian Grand Prix. It's the best we'll do here. Reese is going for it, but we've maxed on revs. We can't go any faster. Reese will just hold it off there. The Porsche is too powerful in a straight line for me to even get close to him, and that is a shame there in this Grand Prix. Tried it, but not enough in this race. Reese holds on to the position, but now we've got our favourite point of the track to overtake here. We're going to have a look here. Can we go for it down in towards this chicane here? Not quite. I could have. I haven't deployed my battery, but crucially, if I did, Reese would have had me with DRS on the next straight, so I had to be careful where I went for the next move here. And Reese now is fortunately pulls away from us into these Lesmo corners, and you can see they're really going for it now on this straight here, and the back end just comes out on me on the exit of the second Lesmo there. Hamilton's going to go for it now down this straight. We'll dump the battery here. Unfortunately for Hamilton, I've got to pull him off here. Reese and Piastri are going for it into Ascari again. Can we go for it? No, not quite. We're just too far back to go for it. Valtteri Bottas has just won the Italian Grand Prix, but there's still a fight for fourth to be had here. Norris will finish in second, Perez will finish in third, Piastri's fourth, Reese is fifth, we are sixth, Hamilton seventh. Into the last corner we go. We've given it all we've got, but from 19th on the grid, we've limited the damage as much as we could, and across the line, it is sixth place in the end of the Italian Grand Prix, and overall, what a race. Wow, what a race. We were involved in action from lap 1 all the way to lap 27 of the Grand Prix, and overall, it was a fun race. I enjoyed it, actually, when I was there at the time. Super stressful, don't get me wrong, but, you know, we did what we could in the end of things. But as you can see, Valtteri Bottas hits back hard after not scoring a point in this in the previous round. Apologies about that. Just whacked my elbow on my desk. Lando Norris finishes in second for Ferrari, 3.5 seconds off in the end, with Sergio Perez getting a double podium for Red Bull. Aston Martin's Oscar Piastri finishes in fourth, literally a 10th clear of Reese, who finishes 4/10 clear of us. We finished 3/10 clear of Hamilton. Crucially though, we got the fastest lap of the race with a 1:18.192, giving us a bonus point. Carlos Sainz finishes in 8th place for Porsche, 1.3 seconds behind Hamilton in the end. It was a close fight overall, and one that we could definitely be proud of, considering we definitely had some issues with our straight line speed and downforce. Still a weak track Monza for Mercedes, and it's something that we need to work on. George Russell finishes in P9 for McLaren, and Sam finishes down in P10. It's another wretched weekend for McLaren. They've really dropped off the form in these last few races, and it's clear to show here again. Looking at the second half of the table now, Nick de Vries finishes in 11th for Audi. That's a shame. He was actually running very competitive with a lot of us, but ends up missing out on points. Theo Pourchaire finishes in 12th for Aston Martin, with Pato O'Ward and Callum Ilott leading home the two Jaguars. Charles Leclerc finishes in 15th for Audi, with the two Renaults of Daniel Ricciardo and Pierre Gasly. Van Dorn, the last driver to officially be classified in this Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen and Mason Wood, the two drivers that unfortunately failed to see the finish. Looking at the Drivers' Championship and seeing how things have changed after the Italian Grand Prix, well, it's still the same as it was for the top three, but the gaps have got closer between myself and Valtteri Bottas. The 25-point gap is now just 9 points between myself and Bottas. Sam, though, is drifting further away. He's 47 points behind now in the Drivers' Championship, and with races starting to run out, he really needs to get his ideas up and check, or he's going to fall away and out of contention. Oscar Piastri goes up to 4th in the championship on 105 points, but there's a very close gaggle of cars of Piastri, Norris, Hamilton and Verstappen. Piastri's on 105 points, Norris is now on 102, Hamilton's on 101, and Verstappen's on 101. All of them are right next to each other in that little battle. It'll be interesting to see who ends up on top in the battle for 4th in the championship. Carlos Sainz finishes 8th in the championship for Porsche on 86 points, with George Russell on 81 points for the second McLaren, and Reese is on 73 points for the other Porsche. The next event for us is the F1 Journey Portuguese Grand Prix. Looking at the Constructors' Championship now and seeing how that's changed after this race. Mercedes are still top of the championship on 309 points, and I've forgotten to include the arrows, but Red Bull have actually leapfrogged McLaren for second in the championship now. Red Bull have outscored McLaren quite significantly over the last few races, and they've done that in fine style. They're on 250 points. McLaren dropped 244 points and third in the championship. Ferrari are only 41 points behind McLaren, so if they can keep tucking away at it, get the reliability problems out the way, maybe they can go up McLaren as well, who would really have a heavy slump in this part of the season. Porsche are 5th in the championship on 159 points, with Aston Martin on 117 points. That fight for 5th is still very much up for grabs. Audi remain on 33 points, with Jaguar on 11, BMW with 2, and Renault with none. But that is it for the Italian Grand Prix. Let's go and have a look at the post-race notebook now and see what the teams and drivers had to say after this Grand Prix. Taking a look at the post-race notebook now, and Valtteri Bottas hits back with an impressive Italian Grand Prix victory. He managed to beat the two Ferraris who were too busy concentrating on each other, and that allowed him to go ahead and take the win. Lando Norris, though, does at least get P2 for Ferrari at their home race, but Sergio Perez came across the line in third to make it a double podium for Red Bull, which was an impressive showing this weekend. Red Bull, with this double podium, have warned Mercedes that they are coming for them. Red Bull have moved to second in the Constructors' Championship, and Valtteri Bottas is now just 9 points shy of Tom at the top of the Drivers' Championship. And Red Bull say they're going to go all the way to try and take not only the Drivers, but the Constructors' Championship as well. Meanwhile, Tom said that he was very happy with his drive. Of course, he started from 19th on the grid and managed to fight his way back up to 6th place, which he said was a very positive race result. And unfortunately for Sam and for McLaren, he believes that they are now out of the title race. It's been a very difficult second half of the season for McLaren. At the start of the year, McLaren were high-flying and were very impressive. But unfortunately, the second half of the season, they definitely dropped off quite a lot. And it's something that has very much frustrated Sam quite heavily, as he really wanted to get himself in the championship battle. But that is it, guys, for the Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. If you guys ended up enjoying the video, drop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and take multiple meds, because as you can tell from this post-notebook commentary, my voice is going. And I will see you guys for the next one. Take care all. Peace.